Hello guys, and welcome to what is possibly the last and a very different episode of SOU34 from my somewhat messy bedroom. I don't know what the day is, it's the middle of the coronavirus lockdown, so don't ask. But basically, when I used to run SOU34 about 2 or 3 years ago, there were a few videos, most of the videos went flawlessly, there was no issues with them. It's pretty good, it ran itself really, but there was still 1 or 2 videos which I never even published. Now, there are a variety of reasons for this, which I will explain later on in the first and second video of why they weren't published. Now, there's one that isn't going to be published at all, but maybe I won't publish it, unfortunately, but I will explain that as the final bit of this video, basically. So yeah, basically, so let's move on to the first video, which was taken in February of 2016. So, on to the first video. Now, this was taken about more than 3 years ago now, during February 2016, and I went out for the day to document the Class 59er, the 59er rail tour, I should say, which was celebrating 30 years of the Class 59. Now, this rail tour went up to Bristol, went down to Westbury, went all through the aggregate sidings, etc, etc. Now, the reason this wasn't published was because at the time, the day before, something rather significant happened personally to me. Now, this would have been okay if it hadn't severely affected my mental capacity. Now, I'm not a perfect human being, I have issues, mentally, physically. I'm not going to go into that. But basically, what happened was something happened and my mental state was deteriorating rapidly from the day before to that next day. Now, I got to lunchtime on that day, I couldn't eat my lunch, I was feeling just miserable. And I was trying to be happy, I was trying to keep myself going, but I couldn't even eat my lunch. It was that bad, and it got to about 5 PM, the light was fading, and I remember making about a 20-minute phone call to my best mate at the time, just explaining that I was struggling. I was seriously struggling to cope, and unfortunately that day I made a few mistakes. Now, I could go into more detail about it, but I'd rather not, so because it's personal to me, and I don't want these personal issues to be spread about the public on SOU34, for example. So, if you know me, feel free to message me and ask me what happened. Some of you might already know what happened, but I'm not going to go into it in this video. So, without further ado, may I present to you the Class 59er rail tour from February 2016. Hello guys, and welcome to SOU34. It is today, Saturday the 20th of February, and I'm at Bristol Temple Meads railway station. Now, as quite obviously in front of me is a Class 59 diesel locomotive, 59001. Why is there a Class 59 in front of me, blocking both the up and down through lines at Bristol? Well, 30 years ago today, well, not exactly, 30 years ago this year, more like, the Class 59 was constructed and began operation on the British rail network. And to celebrate this, today there is going to be a rail tour called the 59er, which has come all the way from Banbury, gone up to Birmingham, and will be coming down to Bristol Meads in the next 10 minutes or so. It will then go to Westbury, up the Merehead Quarry branch, back down to via Frome, and up Whatley Quarry, and then also up the Whatley Quarry branch, and then will make its way back after a rather exciting day for all the passengers on board that rail tour. So I'm going to be at Bristol and Westbury, so I hope you enjoy this film. This is SOU34 in 2016. So, welcome back. And so that was the last video, 59er. This was much more recent, this second video. The raw film was taken during July of last year, and it was documenting number 35018 British India Line when she came down to do her End of Southern Steam rail tour, where she went Yeovil, Weymouth and then back up to London. Now, last year, again, was a pretty bad year for me. I don't want to divulge in it too much, but without saying too much, I had a few issues with a person I used to know quite well as a friend, and unfortunately these issues were escalated quite badly, and a couple of months before I went out and saw India Line, I'd had an issue with the same person. So it was kind of building to it to a degree, but I'd have never expected that. So basically, I'd gone out for the day with a couple of friends of mine in his car, went down to Yeovil, went down to Weymouth, went all over, really. And when we got to Weymouth, I found out from one person in particular, that the person who had been causing me so many issues was waiting for me at a certain station that we were planning to go to, and this quite severely put me off everything. Anyway, we went to the station, we got the film, and sure enough, that person was there, and what followed next is not anything I want to divulge into here, but it wasn't good, to say the least, and it ended with me getting into my own car and running away. These things happen, you can't change what happens in the past, but I still feel the need to publish the video because it's almost a form of acceptance for me. Like the 59er, if I published it, it's out there, it's kind of a final acceptance for me to realise that now the video's out there and people understand why it wasn't published when it was, which is, yeah, it's as far as I want to go into it today. So without further ado, second video. So that was the second video with British India Line. Now, there was going to be a third video, which I still have raw clips of on my phone. It was going to be a vloggy style video. There were no background problems with it, nothing like that. It was well before any of that last year. It was taken during November of 2018. basically, I did a trip up to Wolverhampton, Derby for a weekend, and I did a vloggy style railway video where we went around Derby and Nottingham for a weekend, and we'd had an overnight stay at Derby Station. This was planned to be one of the first newish videos for SOU34 at the time. It was planned to be that SOU34 would revive itself and we'd be able to run it as it once was. Unfortunately, 2019 showed that that wouldn't be the case. So, after putting it off for so long, and after all the issues I had in 2019, I just said no, I'm not going to publish it. So, unfortunately for you guys, you will never ever get to see that video, which is a shame. I might publish the clips maybe in 20-30 years time, because they're still on my phone and they're still there saved. But for now, I'm not going to publish it because there was so much content, there was so much there, it's just going to take too much time, unfortunately. So that's it for SOU34, I'm afraid. It was great, the years that I did SOU34. Without a doubt, they were some of the best years, because it was through my college years and just starting into work and things like that. And I can honestly say they were some of my best years. Unfortunately, I've now moved on myself. I've moved on to photography. I've now got a posh camera compared to a film camera, which is all lovely packed away in there at the moment. But yeah, unfortunately, times have moved, and so have my ideas of filmography. I really want to get back into filming stuff for YouTube because I really enjoyed doing it, but unfortunately, whenever I go out, I don't think about tripods, I don't think about film cameras. If I'm going to film something, I'm literally hastily putting my phone on a little, hasty little, tripod to try and film something, but that's about it. I don't actually publish those clips anymore. So, from SOU34, this is the final goodbye, and it was a pleasure filming for all of you guys throughout the years. Even though it was like one or two, it was still fun to create a legacy that was good for me as a child, and hopefully the Wessex Bell will live up to the legacy that SOU34 made in the past. So it's a great sadness that I say from all of us at SOU34, that's me, Brad, and everyone else who worked on SOU34, thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.